All right. Hello and welcome. Today is the 1st of February, 2020. Thank you for coming here and listening, and also hello to virtual listeners. All right, so in the bottom right corner, make sure that you enable the chat. And for this, also make sure that you're in the everyone section. I've made that mistake before. Make sure that you have your audio and video set up, and let's go ahead and everyone just raise their hands if they've got everything set up and they're ready to move on to the next. All right, perfect. Go ahead and lower your hands. So we're going to go ahead and do a quick quality check. So remove any possible distractions, turn off your phone, shut your door, even put on a do not disturb sign on your door if you find that appropriate. Take a deep breath, try to remove your head from problems not relating to this class. Now, if you are seeing the slides progress, you can see the recording icon in the top left corner and you can hear me, raise your hands once more. All right, perfect. You can lower your hands now. So the big idea for this is that technology is not always constructed, nor is it utilized in a manner conducive to collaborative learning all the time. Though it can be a very helpful tool, it has to be designed correctly. The particular technology in use has to be designed appropriately for collaborative learning. So for our learning objectives, at the end of this presentation, students should be able to identify the primary uses and consequences of social media and distinguish strong tie connections from weak tie connections. For our icebreaker activity, I would like you guys to think of one thing that you might say to, or how you might interact with someone in the classroom that you wouldn't normally say or do in social media. So go ahead and think about that for a second, and when you're done and you think you have a good idea of what you want, go ahead and use the text um, function and put some text in the margins of the screen here and write something that you wouldn't normally say or do in social media that you do in the classroom. Michelle, I would like you to put your text on the screen here using the text function. Is everyone able to, there we go. Um, let's go ahead and, yeah, let's go ahead and we'll point to our answers with different colored arrows using the pencil tool in the top left corner. All right, very good. Now, I would like someone to volunteer. Raise your hand if you would like to speak and explain the answer that you've written down. All right, Adam, you go ahead.
So I'm yellow, and I feel like when I'm interacting with people on social media, whether it's like through Twitter or through like Facebook posts, I'm more apt to kind of ignore them and not really like. I'm normally disinterested of their opinions generally, especially if they don't like line up with my own personal worldviews. If we're being honest, like whereas if I'm having like an engaging discussion with somebody in class, I feel like I'm more accepting to like hear their side of the story, if they have a differing opinion.
That is a very good point, and we're actually going to get to that pretty soon about um, possibly not um, discussing as you would in class. Very good. All right, guys, we'll go ahead and move on. So, social media. Certain technologies may not be designed for collaborative thinking. So, social media is often used to connect people by sharing what you're up to, sharing your opinions among like minded individuals, things like that. Um, but social media debates, quote unquote, would usually be unwelcome and unpleasant experiences. So people who are not like-minded, in fact, are often unfollowed or even unfriended in certain instances in social media, whereas in the classroom, that is much more conducive to debate, and you may have an arbiter or moderator, in fact, for particularly touchy subjects to make sure that everything goes fairly. So in the text chat, mention one or two red flags regarding this for collaborative thinking. Things about social media based on what I said there that conflicts with collaborative thinking. Think in bubbles. Yes, that would be a good descriptor of that. Only listening to like-minded people. Yes. Yeah, very strong opinions. Whereas in class, maybe you'd censor yourself even a little bit. All right, very good. So, for a weak tie connection, Malcolm Gladwell, the author and journalist, spoke of weak tie and strong tie connections. Weak tie connections are common in organizations that basically could be called organized in the loosest sense of the word. Little groups or teams that don't necessarily have a shared goal or interest. Whereas a strong tie connection is often a group of people that is trusting and committed and often has strong leadership as well. So social media ideas can be integrated with educational design principles in mind, more interconnected experiences. That requires direction and leadership. And you have to keep in mind that if there is no shared goal, there is no reason to collaborate. So that, again, makes social media a great spot for echo chambers. So for our integration activity, answer in the poll, and the poll will come up soon, whether you think the following examples are of weak tie or strong tie connections. So example 1, Group A is a group of friends that are currently planning a bar crawl. They are all currently hunched over a tablet with map software open, deciding which places they want to go to. So that is example 1 with Group A. Group B is comprised of 3 coworkers that have worked in the same office together for 10 years, respect each other quite a lot, though they have never once worked on the same project. So one moment, and I will put the poll up. All right, and there is the poll. So go ahead and pick which one to you sounded like they were, yes, that would be right. Group A. Very good. So even though it's an unprofessional environment, they have a shared goal and that they are working toward, which means that they actually have a strong tie connection. All right, very good, guys. So in conclusion, the technologies can provide opportunities for spaces that foster collaborative learning. They must be intentionally designed to do so. Um, all right. So then we are all done. Go ahead and put an emoji in the chat, how you felt about that. And I'm also going to go ahead and open it up to questions. So you can go ahead and raise your hand, particular head.
So with the second example where you had the people who worked together for years that just never worked on the same project, if they got a collaborative project, is that enough to strengthen the ties, or do you think that it requires that there be some camaraderie, or did that Mr. Gladwell say anything about that, or do you have any ideas about that?
Well, just by the definitions given there, that would be a more of a strong tie connection. Just the respect alone isn't enough to make that connection. You have to have a shared goal that you're working towards.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks. I was just wondering because you're in that situation a lot where you work with people that you don't know, and just your first example where those people knew each other and they were going along a shared line of, like you said, it might not be an educational thing, but obviously, but do you think you could have something like where there's a middle ground where people haven't exactly formed a good collaboration yet, but they're more like group work?
Oh, absolutely. Those questions were, that question is sort of designed to be a little bit tricky because it blurs the line. But group one just barely fits the type more than the other group. But yes, if those people had just been working towards a shared goal or something, you could think of group one. Maybe they weren't a group of friends. Maybe they were a group of researchers working to cure cancer. It's that kind of idea. It's the uniting factors that are the main motivators for a strong tie or a weak tie. And also the way that it is organized, that they are focused towards a goal. All right. Now, one last thing I would like everyone to do um, is go ahead and we're going to use our pointer tools here. Go ahead and touch anywhere on the picture to de-stress a little bit. All right, nice. All right, that would be it. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now.